Failure. Okay. Why are we so afraid to fail? So there's a lot of charge to this word, and a lot of times people say, "Hey, I don't like that word failure." And I recently had a conversation with a friend where I was explaining my process of how I help my clients on how the key thing is to actually fail. And what he said was, "I don't think you should use the word fail." And I thought about it and I was like, okay, I see his point, right? Because it's not what I'm saying, it's not really about failing, it's about attempting something, assessing what worked, what didn't work, bring in the thing that actually worked into the next version of yourself, and then try that, fail, assess it, see what worked, what didn't work, and also like thank the parts that didn't work because it actually taught you a good lesson, right? And that's another word, lesson. This is something I think a lot of us growing up when we go to school and you have to do all of these lessons and you're assessed by your teacher and it just feels really icky. And my job is to help people like look at these words and take out the charge of it, because a lot of the times if we're just focusing on the word and the energy of it, we're not actually putting in our own intention with what we want to do with this word. So the example of trying something, failing at it, looking at it, assessing it, and then taking in the good and putting into the next version. This is also what what's the guy who invented the light bulb, right? He had about 30 to 80 versions of the light bulb until he finally got to the light bulb. And each of those types of light bulbs, it was a failure, right? But he didn't give up. And he also figured out what to do and what not to do. And so I think a lot of times that society wants us to present something that's like perfect, that is this like curated version. But like honestly, I think we're sick and tired of this. We're sick and tired of seeing something so perfect. And it's like, and you know that there's like this underlying different versions of how it became to this like final version. And people don't really talk about it, but from the community that I hang out with, like we're kind of like really sick and tired of this. We're sick and tired of people pretending that we have to be perfect. And so for me, like I love watching YouTube creators that actually show their process. They're very honest about their process. One of the things for me that I can be honest about and about failure is I went to medical school. I went to the Western route of medicine and I tried this for many years and I failed at it. I failed at it. And in the beginning, it was like really embarrassing and awkward because I did not know how to explain my story. I did not know how to explain, hey, I tried this thing, I tried it for many years, I quit, I went back, I tried it again, and I quit and I went back, and I had nothing to show for it. But what I really realized was I realized in this process, like what me, myself, like my soul, like what I actually enjoyed about being a healer and what I didn't enjoy about being a healer. And I took the parts that I really enjoyed. So for example, this is how I got into coaching. I hired a coach and I took a bunch of her courses and it helped me really rewire the way that I thought about things. And when I was in medical school, like I thought that the way to heal, and there's nothing wrong with the medical system, like I think there's pros and cons and everything, but the things that I felt that I was being taught on how to heal people, it wasn't resonating with me. It wasn't resonating with how I naturally heal people. How I naturally heal people is actually talking to them, assessing their patterns, seeing what they like, what the reality of their life is. And I felt like a lot of times in the medical system, it was a lot of bandages. Now, in my opinion, I think the medical system is really good for things that happen very acutely, like an emergency room, things like that. I think at times, a lot of the times people use the medical system for as long-term, like a lot of drugs I see has a lot of side effects. It's not really addressing the root problem. And so for me, what I learned from failing at medical school was I am really good at looking at people's root problems. I'm good at looking at their thought patterns, like the energy that they feel in their body. A lot of times when we are going through something, you can actually feel like, let's just say you're on stage and you want to talk about something, or you like somebody, or and you want to express something inside of you to them, you can really feel certain charges in your body. You can really feel where this dense energy is stored in your body. And so these are things I just didn't learn in the medical system. And it's just a different system. And when I started hiring coaches and doing alternative medicine, I realized there's like a whole new world of healing out there. And this was something for me. So if I had to use my own personal example on failure and taking what I learned, oh, hey, I'm really good at looking at the root causes of problems. I like to really go in depth into somebody's I like to talk to somebody one-on-one and let them have space so they can really speak and they can really assess their own life. And I'm really good at like giving them prompts. And so this actually really lights me up. And so I noticed that from doing this experience of medical school and failing at it, that I realized that actually did not light me up. And why I think this is so important, why doing something that really lights you up is the key, is because when something really lights you up, it's almost like you're not talking anymore. Like something inside of you takes over because you know that this is coming from like in depth inside of you. It's coming from something that you're not even really thinking about, and you're able to really pinpoint certain problems with certain people. So even if it comes to, let's just say, somebody who's a really good artist, right? Like I have a friend, oh my gosh, he's such an amazing artist, where I look at his paintings and I'm just staring at it and I'm just feeling these emotions moving. And in my opinion, this is actually healing, because it helped me access something that I didn't even know that was there. And this friend who's an amazing artist, like I know he goes into the zone. This is his zone of genius. And he really goes into the zone and he's able to access something and he's able to create these beautiful paintings. And okay, so what can we do about how do you take away the charge of something that you failed at and alchemize it? So what I want you to do is look at something in your past that either you thought you failed at or somebody told you that you failed at. And another example could be, let's just say your wardrobe. Okay, that's a random example. Your wardrobe. You want to put a couple of pieces together. You want to feel good about what you're wearing, and you try something, and you're like, "Hey, this is actually itchy. I don't want to wear this, even though it's in style, it's in fashion. Everybody's wearing it. It actually doesn't fit my body type." You know, you try it, you assess it. You're like, "Hey, I tried this. Actually, doesn't fit my body type. It's itchy. I don't like this fabric." You know, note it down, mentally note it down, and then you try something else and you're like, "Hey, I actually like this. It may not be like the cool thing in town, but you know, this actually fits me and it actually like feels good in my body." And you just take these mental notes and you allow yourself to try. The whole point is, you know, when you're kids, you're allowed to try and try, you're allowed to be creative, you're allowed to be free and flow. And I understand in the society, especially as an adult, we don't have that much freedom and time to do that. But if not, you're just going to be a copy of somebody else. If not, you're just going to be like somebody else is going to tell you, your authority is going to come from somewhere else. And when you have that confidence to really try things and fail, like the whole medical school thing, that was really hard for me because I felt like, hey, you know, I put in so much time and effort and energy and blood, sweat, and tears into this, and it didn't pan out the way I thought it was going to pan out. But it almost, I was able to get a bird's eye view of myself. And when I finally was able to accept, hey, I tried this thing and it may look like I put a lot of energy and time and everything into it and it didn't pan out, but what did I gain from it? I gained more access to myself. I gained different type of people. I have a whole new different type of community of people who think like me, who behave like me, act like me, who don't judge me. There's a more understanding. And again, I'm not trying to put down the medical community. It's just like I found kind of like my people, my soul group in ways. And it feels really good. And I even feel like even when I wake up, there's like a difference. Like there's not this like, oh, okay, I got to do this thing because, you know, I put, there's a saying called the sunk cost effect, where a lot of times people they're just doing the same thing over and over and over again because they've already put time and energy into something, and they're like, they don't want to waste it. But this is actually a scarcity mindset. And when you feel like, hey, you know what, thank you experience for giving me this, but I'm going to let it go and try something else, it's very cathartic. It feels like you can really let go, and it feels really good because you finally have confidence that what you tried was meant to be for that part of your life, and now you're trying something else. Again, it's not that easier said than done. I get it. Like, practically it's not like, okay, yay, I'm done this thing and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. And that's why, to me, when I got into coaching, when I actually hired a coach and I did these courses, that was actually what made me shift my mindset and give me the confidence and courage to try something else. So what I want you to do is write something that you failed at, and tell yourself it's okay, we failed at that. One thing that I do for myself is I always like, I look at myself like, if I had a child, how would I talk to a child? I wouldn't be like, yeah, you tried this and you suck, right? Like, most adults have this knowing when you talk to a child, they're trying something, and you give them grace. And that's what I started doing for myself, is I started to give myself, my own self, grace. Like, I almost talked to myself as a child, um and it's in a container. So I'm saying, okay, I'm going to try this new thing, and I'm going to let myself just try it, just like how you would for a child. And that's something that has really helped me. So yeah, comment down below something that you failed, and what did you learn from it, and what was your second, third, fourth version of it. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.